My asset allocation is comprised of 40% VFV.
Hmm.
Then we have a Canadian mix of XIC and XEI, and that sits at 14%. Um, for those that are wondering, and I don't know if you've talked about this in some of your videos, Gary, but having a home country bias and buying all Canadian funds. So, like, let's say we put all our money into XIC in the TSX. Yeah, that's probably not a good idea. We know that there's other funds that will perform, and if the Canadian market takes a dumper, so does your all of your fund. So, I hold two other funds. So I'm looking for international diversification. So we have North America with VFV or VU. We have Canadian exposure with XIC and XEI. Oh, sorry. With the North America, we have QQC as well. But then we have XEF and
Yeah.
XEC, emerging markets and international markets. So after, keep in mind, this came long after I started. So all the stocks you've asked me about, why'd you buy them? Yeah, shotgun approach, new beginner. Let's give it a try. But those different ETFs give me exposure to the rest of the world. And they're not a huge proportion of the portfolio. So XEF is 15% and XEC is 8. But what I've noticed is because I have some of that diversification built in there, when one part of the world is not doing as well, the other may be, and it helps keep the portfolio rolling along. And then to finish that out, I have I with the whole portfolio, have like, I think it's about 15% are in single stock positions, and then like a small mix of, like we said, the REITs and stuff. But those two funds, I hold the XEF and XEC. I hold those in the spousal in the RRSP, and the equivalent of that is IEMG, and then you have AVUV and AVDV. So essentially, they're just the same idea, just in US funds. And again, it gives you that broad international exposure.
So this looks pretty good. What's your percentage for QQC?
QQC, I have QQC at 5%, and that's to match. So that gives me in the TFSA anyway, 45% for North American exposure.
That's good. So that's 45%. Technically, that's S&P 500. I know QQC's, but that's a really good. So what I would tell people typically, if I go, hey, you're going to set up your TFSA, I'd say VFV, I would say XIC, XCI, QQC, XEF, and XEC. You have that, you're done. And then your allocations probably have more in emerging markets than and international than I would do. You have 15 and 18%, right? So you have 20 something
No,
percent.
sorry, 15% in XEF and 8 in XEC.
But that's 20 something total
Yeah.
between the two. I kind of bundle them together.
Oh,
Um, yeah. And then Canada, you have 14%.
I actually think my Canadian exposure is a little higher than I probably should have it, and that's only
Yeah,
because
probably.
of XEI. So initially it was
Yeah.
like, oh,
Oh,
like
that's
this is
okay. Canada, I'd probably at like 10%. Uh, I have it. What's my suggestion? I always forget. It's like 10% Canada, 5% in XEF, 5% in XCC. So you have 20% there. And then I go hard on VFV. I go 80%. If you're gonna, or and then that 80% is VFV or QQC, however you want to allocate that. But my portfolio is a little bit different. I have a ton in. I think I'm at this moment talking. I'm like 25% VFV. My overall portfolio, probably like 60% single stocks or something like that. But it's over years and years and stuff like that. But yeah,
Yeah, and I'm certainly not here to discourage folks from looking at doing the research and buying the stocks you want to buy. If you have the time and you want to learn that, that's one of the things I set as a goal for this year. Uh, I think what I'm going to do is probably do a video where I look at maybe EQ Bank, something that I want to buy, and look at the books and figure out would this be a good investment and why, from my perspective as a beginner. But that's just one stock of so many you could buy. Again,
yep.
full-time job, dad like you. I just don't have the time for it.
I'm 100% want to discourage people. I want to discourage them really badly to buying single stocks because I feel like that is the pathway to never making money in investing. I do it because this is like what I do all day. I'm like entrenched in this space, either like just in every way possible. So I do have the time. I do spend my free time doing this. So, and I've been doing it forever. So like that's why I do it. But Jesus, if someone is a new investor or even someone who spends a few hours a week investing, don't like. I'm what's the thing? Like, even if you're good at it, you're probably still not going to beat the S&P 500, right? Like I still don't like I'm a weirdo who's obsessed and do some crazy stuff where I'm sure it could backfire on me at some point, right? But and that's why I'm able to kind of beat those returns. But like I said, like I have a day built around this. It's a whole different mind. I'm living in a different world. And if you're an investor and you got real money or a little bit of money, it's what you outlined.
I think
I
that,
literally would just follow you what you're
well,
doing.
and
Actually,
the irony is like you're kind of hitting on what the average Canadian should be doing. So
yeah.
pick a broker. So first of all, get rid of your debt. And there's a whole conversation around debt. Some would argue what's good and bad, but you want to eliminate that stuff first. Don't start investing till you do that. You need to pick a broker, right? That's step number two. And there's a variety of them. You know, the ones that I use, they might not work for you, but do your research, but pick a broker. For me, it's well simple. And the only reason is it's very easy to use. I can whip my phone out, and it's all because they're a financial institution. They'll offer a lot of other products as well. So for me, it's been really easy to use them. So at a recent work event that I went to, someone in the group, we just got talking about this kind of stuff, and they were intrigued. And the next thing you knew, he was asking me, like, how do I do this? And within 10 minutes, we had their setup and money in their account and made their investments because it's that easy. And you don't need a lot of money to do it. And so what you said is that your day is built around this stuff. You can do that. You can build your day around assessing companies. But if I was starting out, plain and simple, I agree that it would probably be VFE to start with because your money's going to start working right away. And you're probably not old like me. Well, maybe I'm not as old as I think, but that's how simple and easy this can be. It's not scary. It's not. I think a lot of people think that like, oh, I don't know what to do. I both Gary and I can have you set up in the next 10 minutes, starting your investing journey right now.
And if you use a simple strategy, you might slightly underperform a financial advisor or something, someone who does this all day. Like you're talking about like a 1% difference. In the end, let's say you start in your 20s and 30s and you just use a 3 ETF portfolio, like one of the basic ones with VFV leading the headway. Do you care if you have 1 point something million versus 1 point something slightly more million? You do not care. And you never thought about it. And I've had one of my friends, he's just like, I just have XEQT in my TFSA. Perfect. Like I actually think, I'd run out of content. I'd have a one video channel and it would just be me being like, all right, you want to start investing? Yeah. Get rid of debt, find a brokerage, buy XEQT, backset your TFSA every year with it, and check back in 30 years.
Yep.
Oh,
That,
okay. That's it. That's the investment.
I mean, the all-in-one strategy does work. I do hold that in one of the accounts. Again, it's just a test to see how that performs against other things. It's easy. Set it and forget it, right? I talk about it in some of my videos. But I think like most people, once you get started doing this, you're going to have some questions like, like
That's
how
one
do I
question.
invest in something else or a single stock? There's so much to learn.
I think XEQT is the best for someone who never wants to think about it. It does become a thing where like, wait a second, I can actually get even more money because you realize how easy it was. Then you go, okay, now I'll scale up to a 3 ETF portfolio. Maybe I'll make it 5 ETFs. But then still, if you're a casual investor, someone who's not doing this full time, don't really go outside the realm of ETFs unless you have some deep internal knowledge about that stock and you've been doing it for a few years.
Yeah,
I feel like that's the safest way to go about it.
100%. I mean, the asset allocation that I have is essentially a breakup of XEQT.